Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you today with an article from February 2nd from Red State. It says the American Psychological Association claims hiring the most qualified job applicants is unfair. Yeah, the American Psychological Association, I think they called themselves, what was it? Was done APA. I was thinking ASA. I don't know why, because I'm stupid probably. But the APA has totally been ideologically compromised, because why is hiring the most qualified people for a job unfair? That's literally how things get done. Okay? You hire the worst people for the job, or people that aren't qualified, shit goes to hell. So this shouldn't be a very difficult thing to figure out, but let's go ahead and see what these morons have to say. It says, love is hate, war is peace, and merit-based hiring is unfair. Nice little 1984 reference in those first two small sentences there. So says the American Psychological Association, or APA, about the latter, I should say. I have no idea what they think about the first two, but I wouldn't be surprised if they agree with those oxymoronic claims as well. It says, while the rational among us have become somewhat unaffected, I tend to think of it as unable to be surprised, and that's the author saying I, not me, Jason. This is by the insane world of woke, that's diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, gender fluidity, transsexualism, and self-selected pronouns. The notion that hiring a job applicant based on his or her qualifications for the job is somehow unfair are preposterous, yet here we are. As according to the APA's press research, a release about its new research, I'm reading ahead in my brain, says people from across the political spectrum also are more likely to support programs that encourage socioeconomic diversity after learning about the effects of social class and low income, according to the research published online at the Journal of Experimental Psychology General. So see what they did there? It says people from across the political spectrum suggest that both liberals and conservatives equally view focusing on socioeconomic diversity as more important than job qualifications, or at least just as important. And I'm going to go ahead and press X to doubt on that. I don't think that's true. It says, lead researcher Daniela Goya Toquedo, PhD, and assistant professor of organization and human resources at the University of Buffalo State University of New York, put it this way. Man, some of these college people have titles that are like, you put in their title and location, and it's like you have to take like a super deep breath as if you're diving like 30 feet underwater. God. The socioeconomic disadvantages early in life can undermine educational achievement, test scores, and work experiences. Okay. It says, in this way, inequality can undermine equal opportunity. Yet when we evaluate the fairness of merit-based processes, people tend to ignore this broader context and the effects of inequality. All right. Yeah, I'm kind of like, okay. It says, hold the bus, professor. Equal opportunity does not mean equal results. It says, and yes, landing a job that should have gone to someone more qualified is a result, an unjust result at that. So, professor, tell us how fair it is to the more qualified candidate who didn't get the job, and here's more. It says, the researchers conducted 5 online experiments, that's going to be reliable, with a total of more than 3,300 participants. In 2 experiments, participants read about a merit-based hiring or promotion process where the most qualified candidate would be selected. Because half of the participants weren't given any additional information, while the other half were informed about the past socioeconomic disadvantages of one candidate and the advantages of another candidate. Both liberal and conservative participants who received the background information perceived the merit-based hiring or promotion process as less fair with less equal opportunity. In 2 additional experiments, participants also found merit-based hiring or promotions to be less fair, and after learning about how low income can hinder educational opportunities and career advancement. It shouldn't hinder career advancement. It can hinder educational opportunities, I think, to a degree, maybe, but definitely not career advancement. I mean, you could be from a poor home. Trust me, I know people that grew up like in rags that are doing pretty well. So I'm going to press X to doubt on that. So the final experiment found that knowledge and socioeconomic disparities increase support for hiring programs that seek to foster social class diversity, such as removing the names of prestigious universities or companies from resumes and making prior internships a lesser requirement for being hired. And the author says, again, I call BS on equating the views of liberals and conservatives in the study. If the percentages of each group were provided, I'd reconsider. Otherwise, no. Yeah, that's an important thing, is that they're just kind of saying that. And I guarantee you, if you were to find this actual study, which it may actually be linked, because here's the thing here. Yeah, it might be. If it's in there, you might want to look at that. And if it doesn't have it in there, I would absolutely call BS on that. But if it is there, I'd take a look at that, because I guarantee it's not going to be the same. It says Goya Toquedo said the studies didn't include race as a factor, and the results might have been different if the race had been the focus instead of socioeconomic disadvantages. She also said members of marginalized racial groups tend to experience socioeconomic disadvantages more often than members of privileged racial groups, and the negative consequences of these disadvantages can be even worse for racial minorities. Focusing on socioeconomic considerations could garner more support and still help address racial inequality. So again, see what they did there? If people generally believe that a higher percentage of racial minorities are impacted by socioeconomic disadvantages than people of privilege, or as they say, just white, that doesn't take into account the fact that, there's a lot of white people in, say, Appalachia that are absolutely not privileged, but okay, this is why their worldview is, skewed to begin with. So it said, might their liberals' responses be skewed without the need to mention race? It says the bottom line. It says, look, I'm all for equality, which is the way it should be. It says, I always have been. It says, but again, equal opportunity does not and should not be bastardized to mean equal results. Correct. It says, yet that's where we're headed, solely for the sake of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I've talked on a number of other previous videos about the competency crisis that's coming. I mean, just go look up stuff that's going on in the aviation industry, and if that doesn't frighten the ever-loving crap out of you, I don't know what will. They're basically going to start messing with people's lives all for the sake of diversity as opposed to, merit, and this just isn't good. And this is just kind of another, cherry on top of that. So the final sentence of the article here, I believe, yes it is, it says, even worse, giving a job to a less qualified applicant than the best candidate for the job neither helps the man or woman who got the job nor America's ingenuity on the world stage. That's correct. And this is probably the key sentence in the entire article here is, it kind of explains everything about the competency crisis. I mean, people want to say that it's because you don't want people of a minority in those. No, it's like we just want the best people. All the best people were of one particular race that was not white. I personally, I could give a crap. Okay, if I'm getting on an airplane, get me from A to B. Okay? Don't nearly run into another airplane. Don't let the wheels fall off. Don't do that, don't do that. So, I think this is just another thing that's just going down. We're going down the wrong path, and just things in the next generation or two are going to be really bad if this isn't rectified. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.